Definitely. They just have so much burst damage for this. And with that being said, we're going to make it into game number 1 of the one game set. So let's introduce our teams real quick. I'll start with the dire side here. For ENGE, it's going to be Pepsi.like on the Alchemist, Ubermensch playing his Weaver. It's going to be Cheater Cool playing a Lion. The Vengeful Spirit, this match is going to be played by 420 KAA. And finally, our Viper, he's heading off towards the off lane right now, is going to be unnamed TT.
Okay, on the side of Noxious Intent, starting with the Mirana, we have Smut. Over here on the Sand King, it's playing the DK, Aki, not Cake, on the Juggernaut, Nas, and Baby Pickles on the Elder Titan. So kind of an interesting smoke from them already. They smoked up immediately in a base. You generally don't want to do that because your smoke's going to be gone by the time you get to the rune. I don't really know what they were trying to accomplish with that. Maybe it was just a misclick. I've done that before.
Are you getting little stutters on your replay?
No, I'm not having any issues.
Are you sure? Like when you're watching the heroes move?
It seems to be okay.
Okay, maybe it's just your monitor. I don't know. In any case, we are going to get into the match. So even if you do end up seeing a little bit of stuttering on the screen, that's exactly what I'm seeing right now, and that's just how the replay's loaded for me. So I'm just going to go with it and hope that it gets better eventually. Pepsi takes a very easy Alchemist bounty rune for him. Gets some gold after that. And then the Dragon Knight will get the one top. So we'll see how they're able to work against each other on the mid lane. I think that's a matchup that the Dragon Knight wins, at least until level 6.
Yeah, I feel once the Alchemist gets a few points into minus armor, he's going to be in a position where he can win the lane. But for the first, I would say 2 or 3 levels, it's going to be bad, particularly if he wants to go a Max Greevil Screed build.
I mean, even if you do end up like getting a few levels into the acid spray, like Dragon Knight can just get Dragon's Blood, and does he really care about it too much then?
To a point, because he is going to want to go. You see he's already taken that point in Breathe Fire, so he's going to want to be soul ringing.
Completely missed that one as Baby Pickles got the kill top.
I'm not really sure how they got that kill. Do they have a dust?
Well, I mean, sometimes it can happen that the Weaver gets his Shikuchi stuck on cooldown, and then he gets a little bit too aggressive, gets hit with the stun, and then it's pretty easy to get a kill from there.
I suppose so. I'm just going to call that a misplay for the Weaver there. Really unfortunate. That's the last person you want the first blood to be on, too.
Oh, most definitely. Like, Weaver definitely needs to have a good start in the match, and just dying early for reasons like that, it's not going to help him at all.
What do you make of this? The Elder Titan is rotating to the bottom almost along with the Sand.
I think that the lane is a bit too pushed out right now for him to really make a difference here. And they have both of the pool camps blocked, so there's really not a whole lot that he's going to be able to do in this lane.
Right. I don't know if they really should have rotated. They were doing so well in the try versus try. They had level 2 on the Elder Titan, which allows them to get more setups for the Mirana. It allows them to be more aggressive against, I would say, the important carry on the side of ENGE. But they're putting the Sand King up there. I guess he's going to get some farm. Although Caustic Finale against a triple range lane.
Well, I mean, he already got the kill there, so they're a little bit behind at this point. So he's got nearly a 2-level advantage over this Venge. And he might be getting some other kind, like he might get some more damage items or something like that a bit earlier.
Very true. I think it could be very beneficial for him to have just that 1 point for the slow. If he's got a level advantage, particularly against the supports, he's going to have opportunities to kill them if he gets his boots up at a good pace. But at the same time, I almost wonder if you want to be defensive.
Well,
particularly the Venge using her.
The thing about the Caustic Finale is it's just so good at pushing the lane out, and you can get a ton of farm with it as well. It's definitely a bonus if it can do some harass to the lane. But as a Sand King, you have a Burrow Strike on a fairly short cooldown, so you do have a couple of ways to get out of fights, like he just did there.
That's true. Yeah, I almost wonder, though, if he wants the lane to be pushed up so far. If the Lion was in lane and they had positioned the Lion properly, they probably would have been able to kill him there. So another kind of questionable decision as rotating this Lion down to the bot lane. I feel that he'd be better suited to be helping in the tri lane than ensuring the Weaver gets farmed. Viper is big, he's tanky. They would need a full duration arrow, I think, on him to get a kill, as long as he's got his boots.
Well, they're going to get
Speaking
the
of arrow,
arrow on the Lion, so he's kept there for a couple seconds. Baby Pickles will come in from the backside with a stomp. He actually gets the stun off before that happens, but Cheater Cool just taking the spin all over the place. And now he's going to leave the Viper there all on his lonesome to try to play against this. But luckily, like you said, he is pretty tanky and difficult to take down. They'll throw out an arrow, but it's a little bit ambitious, and it doesn't really stop him when he goes for the rune at all.
yeah, absolutely. And poor Alchemist not getting a bounty rune from him, but he is still looking pretty good in terms of net worth. He is on the top, but he's tied with a Dragonite, and that's not the position you want to be in, I think, as an Alchemist.
Oh,
and you see he
pretty
did
early.
go. He did go 3 points in Acid Spray.
All right. Well, we do have a pause. One of the cool things about replays is we can we can go through pauses, but then it might get us out of sync a little bit. So we'll just kind of let it go. But I mean, thoughts on this so far? You said the Alchemist is farming pretty well. I mean, I would think that he should be at the top of the net worth, especially with the Grievel's Greed going. But he's technically behind the Dragon Knight in terms of CS.
Yeah, he's farming, I would say, as well as you would expect against a Dragonite in the lane here. However, he is about to hit level 6, so I think he's going to become a little bit more of something to do. And you see the DK just standing in the Acid Spray, and he went 3 points Breathe Fire. No Soul Ring. He's going to be, I think, a little bit frustrated until he picks up a few more points in Dragon Blood, or if he wants his ult at 6, that's going to be another level he's not getting Dragon Blood.
Well, generally, it is a pretty good thing to get your ultimate level 6. It's a good early push on towers. If the supports rotate over, it's definitely a lot of pressure on the tower, and possibly could even take the Alchemist down. I mean, even if he does have his ultimate going, you might have enough damage there to actually take him out, depending on how many heroes are there.
Right. They need to get the right setup, but at the same time, if you try to push the tower and the Alchemist knows that you're coming, he's just going to Acid Spray the wave. And, you know, what you try to do in TI4, I think that was, is you use the Alchemist to slow the push. So the Dragonite, he's going to be sitting in the Acid Spray. The Elder Titan's going to be sitting in the Acid Spray. The SK is going to be sitting in the Acid Spray. So you've got this Dragon with not a lot of range and 2 melee supports sitting in the Acid Spray trying to push a tower. And that's not really what you want to do, because your supports are sitting in mid for a long time. The DK is going to be falling up behind in level. And the Alchemist is going to be okay. He's not going to be thrilled about it, but he's going to have stacks to fall back on in the jungle later.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how that works out. I mean, I still think that Noxious and 10 are pretty tanky. They, like you said, don't want to be standing in the Acid Spray. But they do have to take towers down somehow. And I think they're just going to either ride a Moonlight Shatter to get a couple of pickoffs, or maybe they just sit behind their Dragon Knight as he just kind of plinks away at the tower.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if they rotate to mid and they are able to get the kill on the Alchemist, then they definitely need to push that tower down. But with him alive, and particularly with him at level 6, it's going to be very, very difficult to get him, even if you dive under the tower with Dragon Form up or with an arrow.
So as we get into the next parts of this game, do you know any like key items right now for ENGE that they like? What's Weaver going to go? Does he actually go for a Linken's this game, or does he go for some kind of like damage item very early?
I feel as though he's probably going to want to go for a damage item first. If you pick the Viper, it generally is an intent to pick up a mechanism. So he'll have that survivability from his teammates. He's going to be getting peels from the Alchemist. He's going to be getting peels from the Viper. And they're going to have a swap up on the Vengeful Spirit, hopefully in the next few minutes. So I see him picking up, at the very least, a casual Blightstone and probably going into a very early Desolator.
Well, we'll see if that does happen. A lot of Weavers just like their build is kind of very static a lot of the time, so they just always go Linken's first in a lot of games. I'm not sure how effective it would be here. Definitely would protect him against things like the Sand King or the Dragon Knight, but
yeah, there are definitely some benefits to picking up that first item, Linken's. Uh-oh. Pause time running out for ENGE here.
Yeah, well, hopefully the teams are able to get it going soon. And we'll be able to get on with this. Sometimes connections can be a little bit difficult to work with, especially when they might not be so so good
Yeah, absolutely. So
or reliable.
I guess we're finding ourselves in a 4v5 situation here for a little bit. Obviously, that benefits Noxious Intent.
Or does it?
Oh yeah, maximum gold.
Maybe the lion would have just like fed or something.
That's true. That's true.
They
But
did
this
leave him in
is
lane for a bit.
Yeah, this is kind of a shame for ENGE. I feel that they need to get this Viper some farm, and he's going to be a little more scared now that he doesn't have someone to back him up, but apparently not. There he goes.
Yeah, well, he's going to get some solo XP here at least, and Lion has reconnected now, so he's going. As soon as the Lion reconnects, he nearly eats that arrow. Like he almost like let it go into his mouth or something. That's pretty disgusting. Like you don't know what Mirana was doing with that arrow before she shot it. You do not want to put things like that in your mouth.
Exactly. It's not good to play with your food either.
I mean, it is pretty fun actually. Have you ever tried it?
No, I haven't. Maybe I should.
Well, maybe the Sand King should as well. What was that melee range? I'm thinking I might not really be seeing the things correctly here. Green trying to get a kill on Venge at top, and I think he might have gotten it with that last hit. Caustic Finale will proc? There you
should.
Go. Yeah. So he gets the kill there.
He didn't buy out. He didn't buy his boots and a TP before he died. He lost about 100 gold, I think.
Wow, that's actually... I think that's actually kind of bad because he had so much time to do so.
Yeah, it's, I would say, very bad. A bit of a misplay, but he's rotating mid now. I guess maybe they want to be the ones to push the Radiant Tower first, as opposed to letting that passive pushing happen from the Radiant side.
Stomp is going to hit on Unnamed at bottom. Unfortunately, no one was really there to be able to do anything else to him, and the Lion Smoke comes in. The Radiant they do have vision of him now, and he walks up, Unnamed, look how little damage he does. He's gone for 1 point into Nether Toxin, and 2 into the Corrosive Skin. I'm not too sure why he decided to do that. I mean, maybe he's a bit scared of the magic damage, but even then, like if you want to get last hits or really do damage to a Juggernaut, you go for Nether Toxin.
Yeah, absolutely. And a misplay from the Lion there. He came up onto the high ground, and you never want to do that with a lane push that far. You want to come up and around. They were smoked, so there was no reason that he should have been there. They would have at least been able to catch out the Elder Titan, or if they were lucky, the Mirana. So kind of odd positioning from him to come up the stairs in the river. I feel as though you almost never want to do that as a support.
Well, with the two heroes rotating over to bottom, it does create some more space for the Viper, who's getting a lot more last hits at bottom. Jug is still pretty happily farming away, but he really needs the lane to go back, and it's unfortunate that they had so many. Arrow. It's going to hit very, very far back on the 420, and with that, it kind of stops the gank there. They don't really want to go forward onto that with just 2 out of 3 members basically being able to do anything because Venge was stunned for so long. So they just back up there. And this lane is just so far pushed out because of the almost a double wave that Jug had earlier.
Right. And honestly, I think that benefits the Dire to an extent because they should be able to use that in order to set up for a fight, but they're really not utilizing the lane position that they have now. And you can see the Juggernaut's hit level 6 about 30 seconds or so before the Viper. They have the setup now, I think, to get a kill.
So you talked about how the Dragonite standing in the Acid Spray might not be the best thing, but he will get the stun on the Alchemist. Basically should not be a killer. He's got the ultimate. He's just kind of chasing him down a little bit. And I mean, the thing is, this Alchemist can put down an Acid Spray, but with just 2 levels into the Dragon's Blood, his armor's at 6. The Acid Spray decreases it by 7, so he's only getting his armor decreased by 1, and he's still super tanky. Like, he's taking barely any damage in the middle of the Acid Spray.
Yeah, that's true. I think a big key to his success so far in this mid lane has been rune control. I've noticed the Elder Titan in particular has been rotating to the bottom rune almost every time. The Dragon Knight's been getting the top rune almost every time too. So Alchemist, he's been forced to use the Soul Ring and use his ult for regen. He hasn't had the bottle. He hasn't been getting the bounty runes that he's been wanting to. And it's just been so huge for DK.
At bottom, the ENGE guys got a little bit aggressive onto the tri lane, but as soon as the stomp hit only on the one hero, they just had to get back. It seems like every single time they want to try to go for some kind of aggression, it's just really not there at all. Like, they go a bit too far for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's that problem again with the acid spray. You see he's going for the top, and that's going to enable him to stay in lane. If he didn't have those runes, if the supports from ENGE were a little more aggressive around the rune, I would say, as they're doing right now on bot.
Yeah, they're just like chasing heroes down, but I feel like they're overcommitting every single time and not getting too much for it. Like, they're not overcommitting too much that they end up dying, but they're just going so far away from being efficient as the stomp hits on a 2 for the Elder Titan. Baby Pickles hits him up. One of my favorite names in Dota.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Baby Pickles as well. Do you think, eventually he's going to change his
arrow
name
hits
to
on the
Purple?
mid lane. Alchemist getting caught out. Dragon Knight goes into his form, and there's also going to be the stun. No stacking for him. Still trying to deal damage through the Alchemist ultimate. They're finding it very difficult for now. I feel like maybe when the Dragon Knight picks up his armlet, things are going to get a little bit better for him. But for now, it's just a bit too much of an ask for him.
Yeah, as we discussed earlier, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to push this mid lane without 3 people and a big arrow. Ooh.
Yeah, they're both getting pretty low here, but Dragon Knight is out of mana, so it's probably not going to do a whole lot.
Yep. And Alchemist, she's just going to pop his ult and run back in.
Yep, that
And
is
what
an
do you know?
Alchemist.
Full health again.
At bottom, Baby Pickles turned into a frog. They're kind of very disorganized in where they're putting their damage, but now Nas goes forward. He's going to use the Omni Slash, gets the Lion down. Vengeful Spirit does have enough mana for a stun, thinking about going for it, really wants to just get it underneath tower, and Sheila Viper's tanking up the tower for now. Juggernaut goes forward, puts down the healing ward, but nope. I don't know where that healing ward went, but in any case, Viper just runs in, gets the kills, and also takes the Juggernaut as well. Get a lot of
and
gold.
this is what we were talking about during the draft. It's such a strong support duo. If you get the initiation, you can basically just kill anyone, particularly with a Viper or any carry that's tanky enough to push underneath the tower and just be a nuisance the whole time, particularly with 1 point up from the Vengeance Aura and a -3 from the Wave of Terror.
I'm still waiting for the Sand King to get into the game. He's at level 8 right now, almost level 9. He should have an epicenter. Well, actually, he should have his Blink Dagger fairly soon. I'm pretty sure that's what he's looking for. Meanwhile, just a couple of kills going on bottom. Juggernaut taking the Vengeful Spirit with the spin. So basically, whenever you get a stun on a hero at bottom, it's probably going to be a kill with Juggernaut.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive lane, very, very bloody lane, and I think that ENGE probably should have started with an aggressive tri lane in this lane, or aggressive tried on the top and pushed down this offlane tower much faster than. But at the same time, this is benefiting the Sand King. He's level 9 already. He almost has his Blink Dagger at 13 minutes, and that's about the timing you'd want for a full-on jungle Sand King. So he's having a great time. He's having the time of his life up here with Tranquils too.
Oh yeah, he's definitely doing so well. The Weaver has gotten a few levels, and there is a wraparound over on the mid lane. It's onto a Dragon Knight though. The Acid Spray goes away. Creep gets hit with an arrow. Dragon Knight has his double damage rune up, and Pepsi, well, he hasn't got an ultimate for another 10 seconds. This might be Noxious Intense chance to get him down. A big kill on the Alchemist, and Sand King will TP in for that one, picking up his Blink Dagger with that as well.
Yeah, really nice rotation from the Sand King in particular. He noticed that he could get away with this, and this is going to allow them to push this middle lane. They needed to kill the Alchemist in order to push this tower. So good sense from them to rotate one extra person in, have the 4, and be sure to get the tower.
The tower will get fortified for now. Cake just, sorry. Oh, I did it. Akka goes in with the Dragon Knight, and no, he was just kind of zoning out the line behind the tower. But really, at this point, there's not too much that ENGE want to do trying to defend pushes at this point. And they're probably going to be happy it's just one tower.
Right. And this becomes kind of the issue with ENGE's draft. The Weaver is not going to allow you to fight underneath the tower. He doesn't have the items or the ability, and it looks like he is going at Lincoln's first. I'm not so sure about that. I feel like he needs to do a lot more damage because the Alchemist is kind of going to come online, but he's going to be getting kited around a lot in the fights. The Weaver is going to be the one to be catching people.
You say kind of
he's
coming
being very
online,
defensive.
but the Alchemist, he's at 3,500 gold right now. It should be in a Radiance very soon. And from there he just keeps going. Like, this Alchemist never stops getting the gold, and he'll get it even faster with the Radiance.
Yeah, Ubermensch is dead.
Oh yeah, and Lion's probably going to be taking the fall as well. Ake coming in, he's got a Blink Dagger in 1 second, should be able to get it with a Dragon Tail. Taking out the Lion. They're also just going to stand the Spirit there. Also going over to the Vengeful Spirit, saying hello. There's also going to be a Stomp, and they will hit her. She's kept there for a couple of seconds. And the arrow. Oh. You know, it was a good guess, but he guessed himself a little bit too hard there. And guess we're going to have another pause. It's time for...
We're on
yeah.
pausing to think about our life decisions there for a second.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a little bit of BM there, but... In any case, we're going to go in on the tower. Another Dragon Knight ultimate, already level 11. Blink Dagger and a Dragon Tail. It's just so strong at this point in the game when you're playing against a Weaver. It's so easy to take him down. That's probably how they got the kill before at top. But we talked about the Alchemist Radiance. It's still not there yet. We'll see if it's going to slow this push down from Noxious Intent at all.
Yeah, Radiance is such a strong item, but when you're playing an Alchemist, you have to be so much further ahead of everyone else in order to be as effective. It's just the mechanics of the hero, and where he is right now, he's only 800 gold ahead of this Dragon Knight. So the Dragon Knight got a lot more in lane than I really feel he should have been able to, just because the Alchemist went for such a passive build. I think he should have gone Armlet first item and had the capability to kind of fight. But
Dragon Knight gets the tail off on Vengeful Spirit, turned into a Frogna, but Sand King comes in from the backside, actually misses the stun on Venge, but it doesn't matter because the Dragon Knight is able to blink up over to the high ground and take the kill, and they take both of the supports down over at mid. Comment on this Viper's Hood of Defiance first item.
I mean, I guess it synergizes with the Radiance. I really do not like it. I think that really what he needs is a mechanism. He needs a defensive item. I guess you're gonna get a little bit of spell absorption, but
Ubermensch got hit with an arrow at bottom. I was able to get the time lapse off, and Viper is now there to help him. Juggernaut taking a little bit of damage from this. He'll put down the healing ward, leaves the kitty there. He might get assassinated. Kitty, no! Please! I hate when they kill the kitties. I also don't like when they have kitties.
It makes the saddest sound when it dies. It depresses me. Yeah.
Well,
so I don't know if I agree with that.
ENGE are kind of concerned with the Juggernaut trying to farm bottom, but there was a Roshan going on. Elder Titan was just kind of sitting there. There's a swap back onto Nas. Oh, he's going into the spin. The Viper Strike will slow him down. Nice stomp hits onto a few heroes, and maybe Nas also turns this around. He has enough mana for an Omni Slash, and this Weaver does not have a... he did not have a time lapse there, having already used it. Earth Splitter comes through, zoning them out, and Juggernaut was able to stay alive, even with the body blocking that was going on. Baby Pickles turned into a frog just at the end of his... Oh my god! Burrow Strike Epicenter on 3. Huge kills for the Sand King, and only the Hood of Defiance keeping the Viper alive for just a few more seconds, but even that item is not enough to save him. They come back with 4 kills of their own for 1. Noxious Intent just cashing them out at bottom.
They knew the Sand King was there. That they saw him. They knew he was in the fight, and they just grouped up all together when he went into the fog, and that's just a death sentence for your team. So I would say over-aggression and poor positioning from ENGE, and excellent positioning from Green specifically. He knew exactly where he needed to be, and he got off a huge epi. That's going to put them way ahead.
Oh yeah, just absolutely setting up that fight for him. They weren't able to push bottom anymore. Kind of running out on the Dragon Knight ultimate. The team really wasn't too interested in pushing it, but the rest of Noxious Intent go over to top. We're 19 minutes in, and already this game is looking pretty good for them.
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial. Any game where you're ahead in terms of gold around 20 minute against an alchemist, particularly 4,000 or more gold, you're going to be satisfied. The supports, particularly on ENGE, are very, very poor. They haven't done a lot of rotating, and when they do rotate, it's been very ineffective. They haven't gotten any kills with the rotates. A little bit of BM problems here, apparently.
Yeah, I guess some people get salty. I don't know why people have to choose salt when you got all those flavors.
You know, it's that umami. It's a very salty flavor.
Well, in any case, should probably let's go to a different. I don't want to read that. There we go.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna read the chat anymore. We're just kind of let them go with it. Noxious and 10, they're kind of spread out right now. Still want to get some more farm. There was one stack of the Ancients, and both of those large creeps are still standing for them. Really, the one that's the best at taking creeps at the Ancient creeps at this point is the Dragon Knight, but once Juggernaut picks up his Battle Fury, he should be pretty good with that as well.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're stacking the Ancients. With the team that they have, it's such a good utility for them to increase their farm. If the DK is falling behind, happy attack.
Yeah, Epi on the Viper, and generally he's not the person you want to use a solo Epicenter on, but they'll also secure the kill with an Omni Slash. And they will get a nice kill.
He actually missed the stun. However, I think he's still happy with that. It was a pretty good Omni. He wanted to clear the creep wave, I think. And he did just that.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, the Epicenter did allow the Dragon Knight or Juggernaut to be able to just go in with the Omni Slash, not have to worry about hitting a creep wave at all. So I think that was some great play, and there's also gonna be a blink forward, stun on Lion, gets the breathe fire off before the Venge throws a magic missile at him, and he'll have another stun in 5 seconds if the Venge decides to stay this far up. Maybe he even goes with the dragon form. Oh, just blink forward, and that's another kill. Vengeful Spirit way too close there. And over on the mid lane, Baby Pickles going for Ubermensch. He's going to get the Blade Fury and knocking him out of that sleep there. And Green will not be able to blink forward with the bug that's eating his schlong there.
Does he have a schlong? I mean, he is a bug.
The Sand King? I don't know. Bugs could have schlongs. He's got a tail.
I think this is the sort of path I don't want to go down.
Well, too bad, because the path has already been paved.
Oh my. So let's talk a little bit about that Venge dying up at the tier 2. He literally watched the Lion die the exact same way. The Lion got blinked on and got arrowed, so the Venge thinks, that's not going to happen to me. And the exact same thing happened to him.
Sometimes you just have lapses in judgment, like an alchemist trying to run away from an astral spirit. And there's a double stun burrow strike. Earth Spike from the Lion only hits onto Green, so he's kept there. But look at this Earth Splitter. So much damage from Noxious Intent. Nas, he doesn't have his Omni Slash just yet, and he actually didn't have an Aegis or anything. So the Viper's going to get a double kill here, going a bit too far out without the Omni Slash or really hitting too many of their spells pretty well. They allow the alchemist to get his ultimate off, and well, not sure if Sanging's going to be able to get a good epicenter. He's caught out with a ward. He has a burrow strike, getting sucked off by the Lion. He tries to get out of here, but there's going to be the acid spray and more damage from the Weaver. They turn him into a frog. They should have another stun soon. Yes, they will. Lion gets the Earth Spike off, and they're getting so many kills off of a pretty ill-advised push on mid.
Yeah, I feel as though that's not the sort of fights they want to take on the side of Noxious Intent. They want to be, I would say, taking those small engagements. They want to be catching out the supports like they did on the bottom lane. They want to be catching out the Weaver solo in the mid lane, getting him with the Sand King stuns and the blinks. They don't want to be taking these 5v5 fights, particularly against a Radiant. And you see the Alchemist has his armlet now as well, and they're going to get a fast Roche with it too.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why the Noxious Intent boys feel like they had to go for that fight. Now it allows ENGE to pick up the Roshan. We'll have to see what they're able to do with the Aegis here, because Noxious Intent don't really care. They're still going to push this in. They're feeling very strong with their Jug that just has a Battle Fury for now. But I mean, is this Aegis really going to help them a whole lot? Maybe they get 2 lives on an Alchemist, or probably a Weaver is a bit better. And he actually does have the Aegis.
Right.
That's who they decided to put on. Yeah.
But I did want to comment on his Solar Crest. I am kind of curious about that item. It's not an item that I see Weavers pick up often. Generally, it's first item Lincolns or it's first item Desolator, but they went for the Solar Crest. I feel like that serves. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a team fight
Oh,
top.
Dragon Knight pops the BKB, trying to take this Alchemist down very quickly. There's going to be a swap back on the Dragon Knight, but he's just in the middle of exactly where he wants to be. He's getting the blast splash damage all over the place. Juggernaut will spin forward. He's going for Lion, who basically has nothing at this point. Will turn Nas into a fricka frog, but they're going to be taking down the Lion anyway. Only losing the Weaver in this fight, and he had the Aegis anyway. He'll manage to keep it, but he lost the rest of his team for it. And, well, they're going to be getting a pretty free tier 2 tower for this as well.
Yeah, no, that's definitely where you want to be. It was a good rotation and good positioning from Noxious Intent to say, well, they have an Aegis. We can see the Weaver on the bottom lane. We have the opportunity to take a 4v5, and they did just that, and it pays off. They get a tower, they get 4 for free, and they might even consider pushing the high ground a little bit, chipping the tier 3 a little bit.
And they might chip it a little bit, but they do lose their Elder Dragon form pretty soon. Arrow's going to only hit a creep on the mid lane. It looks very sad that it got hit in the face, but it did protect the Weaver. But yeah, when you don't have the Elder Dragon form, you're probably not going to want to go high ground, but the possibility is still there pretty soon for ENGE.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is another one of those fights where the Viper was there, but he wasn't really able to do anything for his team. Again, if he had a mech, he would have been able to heal his team through that Omni Slash. They would have been able to continue to take that fight. The Alchemist probably would have survived as well. So again, I'm questioning the Pipe of Insight first item. There's a lot of magic damage, but is that really better than healing?
Like, it just costs so much. You went for like a 3,000 some gold item, and you could have gotten a Dragon Lance.
Right. Well, he needs the defensive items. He's going to be kind of the aura monster on his team.
Well, I mean, you have a Dragon Lance, which gives you both positioning, which can be defensive, and it also gives you some survivability with the Ogre Club. That's a portion of it. So, I mean, it's also very cheap and allows you to get something else like a mechanism or something that could go towards your survivability. I think like even mechanism and Dragon Lance at this point would have been a lot better than just going Pipe of Insight.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. I really feel that Viper is not a very effective hero if you don't use him to pick up a mech and fight in the early game. He needs to snowball because he literally just right-clicks on people. He orbs them and then makes them go slowly. So he needs to have some other utility in the game, and at this point, he really is just not achieving that. If the Epi gets off after the pipe has been used, he does nothing. He needs to be able to help his teammates a little more than he is right now.
Well, hopefully we're going to be able to see a bit more help as creeps push in bottom a little bit. The heroes are kind of congregating there. They're going to use a smoke, see if they can pick someone off again. Dragon Knight is kind of inside the base right now. He's going to TP over to the tier 1, so he'll be joining this pretty soon. He's got a Hyperstone, building up an AC right now, and we'll see if he's able to take down any of these heroes when he gets there, or if he's going to arrive in time. They haven't really initiated just yet, pulling out some of the creeps. We'll see how the initiation is supposed to come. Stomp way off the mark from Baby Pickles. I think he was just kind of hitting the ground there, saying that he's there.
He had to throw it out there. His smoke broke, and they know that there's a ward from the dire side up on the high ground over the Roche pit. So when his smoke breaks, he says, shit, they see me. I need to see if I can get a stomp. So he's really just fishing there. He didn't really have much other choice.
Well, Alchemist is pretty good at clearing out the creep waves, making it hard for the raiding side to kill his own creeps there. An arrow comes through, misses everything. Vision's game is pretty interesting. I think the Weaver has gotten a little bit annoyed here. Blink forward and Aka will stun unnamed. Epicenter comes through, really just zoning out this fight. He'll put some damage onto Ubermensch, but Dragon Knight's getting isolated a bit. Taking down the Lion first, looking for the Vengeful Spear. On the other side of this, Alchemist nearly going down. Split Earth will be able to finish him off. Just so much health on him. Very easy to take him down there. Now Green coming in from the backside. He has a Burrow Strike. He's going to be able to get it on two. Only one here. Dragon Knight's taking a lot of damage from this, and he's trying to turn it around into the Weaver, but it's just not enough damage, and it looks like Noxious Intent, they've just taken quite a bit of damage. Nas is dead. And they just absolutely have to get out. That was an Aghanim Scepter Epicenter. And Smut, he's not going to get hit by the Weaver. Geminate Swarm there.
I think that was a really good fight for ENGE. Even though they lost the Alchemist, I think the Sand King really needed to get that epi on people. He just dropped it in the center and didn't actually hit anyone with any of the ticks. And that's a lot of damage for the Noxious Intent lineup that I think that they need. They're going to lose at least one tower here. Probably not two.
Yeah, probably not two. And it's just like he's picked up an Aghanim Scepter, and at that point you absolutely have to be hitting some good epicenters to get the damage there. You spend 4,200 gold on an item that, like, its most effective thing is to give you more damage to your ultimate, which you didn't really hit. So you're basically wasting, I would say, 3,000 of that 4,200 gold. And basically all you did was zone people out. Another thing that happened was the Dragon Knight, he was basically just zoning out the rest of ENGE.
And mid, Mirana in trouble.
It's just a Weaver. And the Lincoln Sphere helping him out a little bit. Looking for a stomp, and they will end up hitting it. Keeping Uber Bench there for a little bit. Gets it. What's he trying to do? He's getting caught out inside the trees a little bit there. And the Dragon Knight finishes off the kill with the tail. Now they're looking for the Weaver, and the arrow's going to hit as well. Unnamed taking so much damage from this. Now that's a nice swap away. Stomp will only hit the dead corpse of the Vengeful Spirit, and they're going to catch out Lion as well. 3 down. ENGE are just falling like dominoes over on the mid lane, and they should be getting a tier 2 for their efforts as well.
Yeah, shout out to Baby Pickles there for his excellent positioning on the stomp. If he wasn't in the exact right place, that Weaver wouldn't have died.
Also, a fantastic arrow from the Mirana.
Yeah, the Mirana probably would have died if he didn't have the presence of mind to just kind of panic arrow there.
Akka getting caught out a little bit here, forced into the BKB. He will Armlet Toggle, staying alive, and Epicenter coming in from the side. Green does not have enough mana for Burrow Strike or anything. And Smut just goes in. There's the Split Earth as well. They're going to get the Stomp here, and trying to take down Baby Pickles will eventually go down. Now they're trying to chase down Pepsi, but they're all underneath the tower, and this is just where Acid Spray does so much work. They were not really expecting to be taking so much damage as a result of the armor reduction, but they take down so many heroes on mid, and Alchemist died in the last fight, but he stands strong in this one.
Yeah, I think Dragon Knight was a little upset there. He did have to use his BKB. He armlet toggled at the exact right time. He got caught when he toggled off by the Alchemist's son, so he was in a lot of trouble there. He had to BKB to live. But another beneficial fight. These high ground pushes are really not so much working out for Noxious Intent. They need to get these picks, and they need to be ready to take these fights onto the high ground instead of, well, shit, I epied, I don't have a stun now.
Yeah, you can just tell how difficult it is to be pushing into an Acid Spray like this. Like, you have a Dragon Knight who's pretty tanky, but everybody else, it's very difficult for them to push through that spell, and you're kind of seeing the effects of it here.
Yeah, you absolutely are. So that begs the question, what is the missing piece? What is the key that Noxious Intent needs to be able to push on this high ground and get this Rex? Because the longer this game goes on, the harder it's going to get for them.
Well, I mean, you can see how effective their like team fight combo still is. Like, even though they're not always hitting everything, like that last one, it was a double Starfall into Split Earth that did a ton of damage. Wasn't quite enough to kill an Alchemist there, but the potential, if they can hit all their spells, definitely a thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're winning all the fights outside of the base, but when they get to the high ground they're starting to struggle. And I think they need an Aegis. They're going to have to wait out the Roshan. And it's coming up in 30 seconds. So they have the position on the map, but they don't have the vision. The dire vision actually better around the pit.
And that is one of the things you can take as the dire advantage. You can get a little bit more vision. In terms of vision on the map, there's actually a pretty deep ward placed down by Noxious Intent, getting some good vision of the base, maybe encouraging them to go for Roshan when it does respawn, since they will have some pretty good information as to where ENGE are. And then the items coming up for that as well. Sand King has a Soul Booster in his inventory. Not really sure what he's wanting to go for with that. Maybe an Octarine, possibly, so he can miss more epicenters or something like that. Yeah, AC has been completed by Dragon Knight. But yeah, just a couple of items here.
Right, the AC is going to be a huge tool too. Just that extra armor is going to do a lot to nullify the damage that they're taking from the acid spray. So that's going to be huge. The Soul Booster is going to be nice. He's going to have a little bit more mana.
Well, Sand King gets caught out a little bit, and Ubermensch decides to Shikuchi right into an arrow. The AC might not be as effective here because the Alchemist has one as well, going for a bit more of a damage build, and you can kind of see it at work in the last fight where it's just putting so much damage onto the Radiant squad sitting inside the acid spray. But we'll see if they're able to push this forward and who ends up taking the next Roshan.
Yeah, on the subject of pushing, Juggernaut Illusions almost taking that bottom tier 3 tower. Just split push, I think, might be the decision to kind of force them into that position where they're able to take a fight outside the base and go onto the high ground. That's in a scary place, though. They have vision of him here.
Yes, indeed they do, but the personnel not so much. They definitely need the Venge there if they're wanting to go for the Juggernaut at all, and he's just a bit far away.
Yep. The Roshan up, I think both teams are fully aware of it, but kind of positioning themselves. I almost wonder if ENGE are going to try to smoke gank here. I feel that they have the opportunity to kind of come up and around, but that middle tier 1 tower is such a pain to deal with.
Well, Mirana has a smoke as well, so ENGE, they go for their smoke. Viper's not been hit by it, so he is in vision pretty soon. The scam was used. Did that actually hit anybody?
Yes, it did turn red. They caught out the smoke.
Alright, so they should know that they're going to Rosh, but they have to get there very quickly because with all this minus armor, the Roshan goes down so fast, and he's dead already. So ENGE decide to just go for the Roshan, pick it up. The stomp will hit on Weaver, but there's nobody here from Noxious and 10. They're just going with their old strategy of letting the other team take Roshan and then pushing the base.
You know, trades.
Of course, right? And one of the good things of the Lion is he's just so good at clearing out the illusions. Just mana sucks one, turns one into a frog, and those illusions are both gone from the Juggernaut.
Yeah, that's going to be really nice for them. But at the same time, this Roshan pickup, this is huge for ENGE. This is what they need to take a fight outside of the base. They're capable of winning fights on the high ground. If they can win a fight outside of the base, they're going to have... There's so many towers for them to take. And the gold is close. 2,500 gold lead for Noxious Intent. If ENGE wins a fight, they're going to be ahead.
Yeah, but how much of that is the Alchemist? Because he is about 7,000 gold ahead of the DK right now. So, and 10,000 ahead of the next member on his own team. And that's not to say that he's not being effective. He's actually being very effective in a lot of these fights. But if they end up losing him, have ENGE kind of lost too much then?
Well, I would say it's going to be very hard to kill him. He does have a heart. He's got an armlet. He's got a radiant. And there's no MP on any of the cores of Noxious. So he's going to be very, very difficult to kill. He's not going to be the person they want to focus. They're going to want to go after the Weaver.
The thing is, when you're playing against an Elder Titan and he drops his ultimate on you, if it's going to hit, it actually does more damage if you have more HP, right? So... like, you're an Alchemist, you're standing in it, and you're pretty tanky at this point, but it's going to take out a huge chunk of your HP if it ends up hitting you.
That is true. So 40% of his max HP, but at the same time, he's still enormous. He's got a BKB, he's got a heart, he's got an AC, he's got 27 armor. What are you going to do with all your physical damage? The Juggernaut can be on, the DK can be on, and the Mirana can be on him too, but while you're killing him, everyone else is dying. It's going to be very hard to kill him, especially with an Aegis on the Weaver.
Well, I guess we will just have to see. All these lanes are pushing in pretty far for Noxious Intent. Looks like ENGE are getting starved out a little bit, which is pretty fine for an Alchemist. He's able to still get all the gold from these minions, and they're just going to keep pushing right up towards him, and he's pretty happy to take that. Bit of an old school build for the Alchemist right now, but he's still being very effective in this game, and he is incredibly tanky, as we said.
Yeah, and you kind of see, this is one of the weaknesses of an Alchemist lineup, is the Alchemist takes all the farm. You look for farm on the map. When you're behind like this, the vision that Noxious Intent have, they can't really go out onto the map, because the Alchemist is taking all of your CS. He's farming the jungle, he's farming the lane, but he might be in trouble here.
Yeah, Sand
No.
King blinks away from the Weaver at top, and just a couple of heroes getting very close. Alchemist should be taking the tower, and does at mid. Dragon Knight's getting in there, but he's trying to TP away. Is he going to make it out? He has a Dragon Tail, and he's going to be able to use it. Here comes the Baby Pickles Outer Titan. He has a stomp in 3 seconds, so Alchemist goes into his ultimate. And, well, Alchemist is pretty far from the rest of his team. Back over at bottom, NASA's trying to TP away as he spins, but he's getting swapped out of it, and he's in a ton of trouble right now. Has an Omni Slash. He's going to go for it. He will take down Cheater. The gem is on the ground. So much damage to the Venge as well. He's trying to turn it on. Goes for the Viper. Is going to be able to get the kill? No, he's just going to pick up the gem and get out. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, they're trying to take down Green. A lot of heroes down and very low for Noxious Intent, but not quite out just yet. And Green is able to burrow strike over to the high ground. Ubermensch was trying to help out with that, but with both supports going down at bottom, Green is just going to TP right on top of the Dire Observer.
And you see what I mean? This Alchemist is so hard to kill. He just pops his B, and there's nothing you can do. They epied for that. They popped Dragon for him for that. They did so much.
Yeah, they did so much, and they still end up losing 2 supports bottom.
But that's true. Now, losing the support's bottom, I think, was a bit of a misplay from ENGE, but the Alchemist, he's so hard to kill. They need to push this 5. They need to force team fights together, particularly while they have this on Ubermensch. But they're not doing that. They're not using the advantage that they have created with the Roshan. And I feel that is a...
Yeah, I mean, basically, ENGE are, like, very much, like, able to survive in this game on the back of a Weaver and an Alchemist who's incredibly tanky. Like, Weaver does the damage, Alch does some damage as well as tankiness, and it's very difficult for Noxious Intent to get too much done here. Even though they have like the pick-off potential, the stuns, they have some good damage as well, it's just not really doing too much here.
Yeah, absolutely. But there are tools to deal with, and I feel that Noxious Intent, they're going to have to start heading towards minus armor and more damage items on their core, because they are very hard to kill. And you see the Dragon Knight doing that. He picked up a Demon Edge, so he might be going for a crit. Actually, maybe he's going Rapier. I'd like to see that.
Dragon Knight Rapier, you got to take that Alchemist down, but imagine giving it over to the enemy team, like giving it over to a Weaver even. It's going to work into that BKB so that he doesn't have that mischance anymore from the Radiance, but still.
Yeah, I was about to say, what about an MKB? But at the same time, an MKB is really not an item you want on a Dragon Knight. You get a little more attack speed, so you get some cleave from your Elder Dragon form, but attack speed is just okay. It's not fantastic, but it is the right item choice, I think. They need to have the ability to hit this Alchemist with every single hit.
Also the Weaver. Like, Weaver have a Solar Crest. If you miss a couple of hits on him, that's basically the difference between getting or not getting a time lapse off.
Right. And as we had mentioned quite some time ago, much earlier in this game, I really like the Solar Crest pickup on the Weaver. It functions similarly to the Desolator in that you can get rid of people's evasion, you've got the armor, but it's a defensive version of the Desolator. So I commend him for that pickup. I think it was a very thoughtful item choice.
Alchemist pops his BKB and gets away from bottom. They just dropped down so much for it, but they were kind of off the mark with a lot of things. Mirana not blinking in. She does have to work with her evasion there, like how she gets around fights, but I mean, even if she does blink in, she still has a leap which won't get cancelled, so possibly could have gone for that there. Wasn't really aware of where the creeps were, but now we have Dragon Knight going for a blink on the Pepsi. He's still very hard to take down, and there's going to be a BKB used by the Dragon Knight. They've taken down the big tanky guy. Now they're looking for line. They'll move forward. Smutsput will jump. So 420 able to force staff away, but he's getting chased down by the Dragon Knight, and that's a ton of damage. Is it going to be the kill? Oh my god! He's just able to get it with all of what he has, and the MKB looking like it might have come into handy a little bit there. Burrow Strike hits, Arrow does not. Ubermensch forced away from bottom. Unfortunately for ENGE, the Roshan is not up, and now Unnamed has been caught out by the Sand King. He'll get Viper struck, and, well, Unnamed does have the gem on him, so they'll just pick him up, get another kill on the Dragon Knight, and they can keep pushing this in. They have 45 seconds left on the respawn of Alchemist, and no buyback on any member of their squad right now.
Yeah, even without the duration of the DK ultimate, they're going to be able to do this. And Really, I would say Alchemist, why don't you have buyback?
I know, right?
Questionable, I would say. But really good game sense from Aka in particular to realize that he could initiate on that. His team was there, and 2 heroes were missing from ENGE when they started that fight. So very intelligent from him. And
Right now, only the Weaver up that can do a whole lot of damage for ENGE, and that's 2 sets of racks taken. They're going to go for a third. Top tier 3 already down pretty low. Green is ready with the Blink Burrow Strike if he needs to. And he's just going to Burrow Strike back for now. With the Alchemist respawning, they don't want to go too ham here, so they'll let the tier 3 stand for a little bit longer. But the question is, how long will it stand? Because, I mean, this push is coming pretty hard and fast from the Radiant side, and Roshan has respawned.
I like the safe play from Noxious Intent. I think they've got the right idea by doing this, backing off and setting up for the Roshan. They should know that it's going to be up very soon. And if you have an Aegis and you know that the Alchemist does not have, and he's not going to have buyback, he bought another item. He bought BT's level 2. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering about this. Like, he should still be getting some pretty good farm, and well, the good news for him is that these creeps will push into the base a lot stronger now because he's up against super creeps, so he can get some gold from it. But that's a little bit shorter for Noxious Intent to walk to get into the dire side base.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're scanning the Roche pit. Again, they're playing so safely, and I love this from them. They know that they have an enormous advantage right now after winning that and getting the 2 racks, and they say, all we have to do to win this game is not feed, not be terrible, and they're doing just that. And here's the Roche, and this is going to be, I think, the final nail in the coffin for ENGE.
Yep, just going for the safe and the right play. They'll take the Roshan before they go for the final high ground. Just throwing in a Juggernaut, throwing in the Dragon Knight, and they have tons of damage on the side. You might have wanted fries with that, but they're going to get a side of cheese with this Roshan. And we'll see how much they like it after it's been dropped on the ground a little bit. They're actually just going to leave it there. Nobody really cares for it. Oh, Sand King comes in. He says, "This is mine." And he'll pick that up off the ground. I don't want to know where that has been either. Just a lot of weird things on the Dota map that I don't want anywhere near me.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone dies and you take cheese out of their pocket, you don't eat it. It's just not sanitary.
I don't know. Maybe you're like weird or something, and you do eat cheese out of someone's pocket. Like if you're really hungry, like I am, I might eat that cheese. It's starting to get there.
If you're like a giant murder bug, like Sand King is.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, murder bugs, they'll go for that 4 cheese all the time.
Naturally.
Mirana with the E-Blade and the Blink Dagger, just ready for any hero that decides to show its face over on top. And well, Alchemist will get a stun on the other time. He puts himself up in the air, drops down the Acid Spray. There's going to be the Spirit Stomp. It hits on the leg, but they're really just keeping heroes here, and they're isolating this pretty well. Oh, okay. Alchemist turns around with the Abyssal Blade on the Nas, and they will pop that Aegis very quickly. But while all this is happening, they're just going in on top. Dragon Knight's taking the tower, going for a Rax, and well, he's in beneath the Rax here, and he's just going to be taking down Lion with the splash damage. Dragon Knight, no Aegis on him. He's staying alive pretty well here, getting chased down by the Weaver, but he's just super tanky. Now they want to turn their sights onto the Alchemist, who's taking the full brunt of the Omni Slash. And Ubermensch, oh my god, his health just absolutely evaporates. That should be the full set of racks for Noxious Intent, taking the Megas here. Full health on the Juggernaut, has his... Well, he has his healing ward in about 40 seconds. Drops down a couple of the illusions, using the epicenter as well to escape the scene of the crime. So these Mega Creeps will be coming in pretty soon. Mirana's nearly down. Ubermensch looking for a kill, but he's just going to TP away and doesn't quite find the Mirana. Burst gets proc on the Lincolns, but yeah, after that it's just another successful push into the base for Noxious Intent, taking the Mega Creeps.
Yeah, I'm getting good use out of that Aegis, saying, well, if we just distract the Alchemist for a little bit, a 4v4 benefits us, or even a 3v4, because our Dragon Knight, our Juggernaut are so far ahead. So, good from them to just get the Alchemist a tunnel vision. I don't think he should have been out in front of the base there anyway. That would be the perfect time to bait. So, another kind of strange play from him, costing them dearly.
And it looks like Noxious Intent may have just secured this first game of the day for them. We're about 48 minutes in, but still, things are looking pretty damn good. Burst Strike just going around the map. He just looks so joyful every time he pops out of the ground. Sand King, he would have thought that he's a happy guy. You ever seen his sex tape?
No, I can't say that I have.
Ah, you're missing a lot.
I would be happy to if I had floor cheese and an eggs and a octarine.
Well, I think they might have caught out someone here. They're going to, absolutely take down the Weaver. He gets swept away, but even that, he can't get the time lapse off. Another Burrow Strike through the Viper, and with 3 heroes down, it's looking like this game just might have been taken. That is the Octarine core at work. Alchemist trying to do every single thing that he can, trying to kill Baby Pickles. He'll get Earth Spike and one punch in the back from the Alchemist, but now Green looking for the revenge with the Epicenter and ultra kill on Dragon Knight, and that should be the GG. Akka just goes into the base, just going to sit there for a while, and look how tanky this guy is. He doesn't even care.
He's so strong right now. Yeah, I really like the Dragon Knight pick, and it paid off. I didn't expect him to do quite as well as he did in the mid lane, but he definitely did. And it was a key, I would say. He was a key player, and the Sand King as well. Definitely very beneficial for their team. The Juggernaut, I didn't really feel his influence as much, but I think that he was just a good solid carry. He allowed them to get to the position that they had in a later game with the DK, with the Mirana, with the Sand King. So just excellent play all around from Noxious, and not quite enough from Noxious Intent. Just some misplays costing them the whole game.
Yeah, they definitely played this game a bit better, and their item choices were pretty solid as well. I feel like that might have been an area improvement for ENGE. Just a couple things that didn't really make a whole lot of sense there. But with that, that's going to do it for our first game of the night. So we will have another one coming up in about 5 or so minutes, because we're not really kept to a schedule with the league or anything. We can go right into the next replay. So hopefully we get into that pretty soon. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us. This has been Pythian and Nakamov. You can follow Pythian on Pythian Legume on Twitter, as well as on twitch.tv/Pythian Legume. And then Nakamov, you can plug your Twitter and things right now.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at ZE_Nakamov. I used to stream, but I don't anymore, so I'm not even going to bother with that. My internet's not good enough right now. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I try to update it, but no promises.
Well, I hope that you promise me that you'll join me for the next one in a couple minutes here on the stream. And to everybody that's still hanging out, thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. And as always, I'm going to spin around in this chair.